If you're over 60 and you regularly sleep more than 7 hours a night, you'd assume that's a good thing. More rest, better health, that's what we've all been told. But a growing body of research is telling a very different story. Multiple long-term studies have found that excessive sleep in older adults isn't just harmless extra rest. In many cases, it's an early warning sign that something else is already going wrong in the body. And the diseases connected to it are more serious than most people realize. Today I'm walking you through what the research actually shows about long sleep duration after 60, the specific conditions it's been linked to, and how to tell the difference between healthy rest and a warning sign your body is sending. Stay with me to the end, because I'll also explain exactly how much sleep is considered optimal after 60, and give you a clear action plan for what to do if your sleep has changed.
Welcome back. On this channel, we focus entirely on health after 60, because what counts as healthy at this stage of life is often different from what we were taught at 40. For decades, the advice was simple: more sleep is better sleep. And for most of adulthood, that's reasonably true. But research published in journals including Neurology and the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society has consistently found a U-shaped relationship between sleep duration and health outcomes in older adults. Think of it as a curve. At one end, sleeping too little, under 6 hours, is associated with increased risk of cognitive decline, cardiovascular disease, and immune dysfunction. At the other end, sleeping too much, consistently over 9 hours, is associated with a different but equally significant set of health risks. And after 60, it's the right side of that curve that most people don't know about.
The key thing to understand is that long sleep duration is rarely the direct cause of disease. In most cases, it's a symptom, a sign that an underlying condition is already affecting the body, and the body is responding by demanding more rest than it used to need. The extra sleep is the body's answer to something it hasn't told you about yet. That's exactly why this pattern matters so much, and why it deserves more medical attention than it typically gets. Let's go through what it's been connected to. Condition number 1, cardiovascular disease. This is one of the most consistently replicated findings in sleep research. Multiple large-scale studies, including data from the Sleep Heart Health Study, which followed thousands of participants over many years, found that adults who regularly slept more than 9 hours per night had a significantly elevated risk of coronary heart disease and stroke compared to those sleeping 7 to 8 hours. In some analyses, the increased risk was comparable to that of moderate smoking.
The proposed mechanism involves inflammation. Excessive sleep has been associated with elevated levels of C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, two key inflammatory markers, which are the same markers associated with atherosclerosis, the buildup of plaque in the arteries that leads to heart attack and stroke. Researchers believe that in many cases, underlying cardiovascular disease is already creating low-grade fatigue and inflammation that drives the body toward longer sleep, even before chest pain, shortness of breath, or any other classic symptom becomes apparent. After 60, if you've noticed your sleep duration creeping upward over months, and especially if it's accompanied by daytime fatigue that doesn't improve no matter how much you rest, a cardiovascular evaluation, including blood pressure monitoring and a full cholesterol panel, is a reasonable and important next step. Condition number 2, type 2 diabetes and metabolic dysfunction. Long sleep duration has a well-documented relationship with metabolic health, and the connection works in both directions, making it one of the harder patterns to untangle. Studies have found that adults over 60 who sleep more than 9 hours per night
have a meaningfully higher prevalence of type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance compared to those with moderate sleep duration. Part of the explanation is behavioral. Longer sleep almost always correlates with reduced physical activity during waking hours, which independently worsens insulin sensitivity. But there's also a direct physiological link. Fragmented or poor quality sleep, even when the total duration is long, disrupts glucose metabolism and increases insulin resistance over time, regardless of activity level. This creates a cycle that's very easy to miss from the inside. Elevated blood sugar causes persistent fatigue. Fatigue leads to longer sleep and reduced physical activity. Reduced physical activity worsens blood sugar control further, and the person at the center of this cycle often attributes the extra sleep and exhaustion simply to getting older, without recognizing the metabolic dysfunction running underneath it. If your sleep duration has increased gradually alongside any of the symptoms we covered in our previous blood sugar video, persistent fatigue, increased thirst, slow healing wounds, or tingling in the hands or feet, it's worth requesting an HbA1c test specifically at your next appointment. Condition number 3, depression. This connection is well established in clinical psychiatry, and it's among the most frequently missed in older adults, because depression after 60 often doesn't look the way people expect it to. Hypersomnia, excessive sleep, is a recognized core symptom of depression in clinical diagnostic criteria, alongside the more commonly discussed symptom of insomnia. In older adults, depression frequently presents primarily through physical symptoms: persistent fatigue, reduced motivation, social withdrawal, and notably increased sleep, rather than the sadness or hopelessness that people typically associate with the condition. This presentation has a name in clinical literature: masked depression, and it is one of the most systematically underdiagnosed conditions in adults over 60, in part because its symptoms are so easily attributed to aging itself. The pattern to watch for is sleep that is increased gradually, alongside reduced interest in activities that previously brought enjoyment, decreased contact with friends or family, and changes in appetite, either reduced or increased. These changes don't have to be dramatic to be significant. Gradual withdrawal and increasing sleep over several months is a clinical pattern, not a personal failing, and it responds very well to treatment when it's correctly identified. Condition number 4, early-stage neurodegenerative disease, including Alzheimer's. This is the connection that has received the most attention from researchers in the last several years, and the findings are among the most important in this entire conversation. A large study published in JAMA Neurology, following thousands of older adults over multiple years, found that those who consistently slept more than 9 hours per night had nearly double the risk of developing dementia within the following decade, compared to those sleeping 7 to 8 hours. Critically, this relationship held even after researchers controlled for depression, cardiovascular disease, and other confounding factors, suggesting a meaningful independent connection between long sleep duration and neurodegeneration. The proposed explanation centers on what is happening in the brain before memory symptoms become apparent. The sleep-regulating centers of the brain, the regions that control how long and how deeply we sleep, are among the structures affected in the earliest stages of Alzheimer's disease. When those centers are disrupted, sleep architecture changes. Total sleep need increases. The person sleeps longer, but often less restoratively. And because no memory symptoms have appeared yet, neither the person nor their doctor connects the change in sleep to anything neurological. This finding does not mean that sleeping more than 9 hours causes dementia, or that it guarantees any particular outcome. But when increasing sleep duration is combined with any of the physical signs we covered in our Alzheimer's mirror video, changes in facial expression, gait, eye movement, or grooming, it becomes a pattern that deserves prompt medical attention.
So what's the optimal range? According to the National Sleep Foundation, and supported by multiple large cohort studies, adults over 60 generally do best with 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. This range is consistently associated with the lowest risk across cardiovascular, metabolic, and cognitive health outcomes. If you're regularly sleeping more than 9 hours, and that's a change from how you used to sleep, here is a clear action plan. First, track it. For 2 weeks, note your actual bedtime, your wake time, and how refreshed you feel during the day. Patterns become visible quickly when they're written down. Second, bring it up directly at your next medical appointment. Mention the change in sleep duration explicitly. It's a clinical detail that most doctors won't ask about unless you raise it. Third, request targeted blood work, thyroid function, fasting blood sugar or HbA1c, and a cardiovascular risk panel, including cholesterol and C-reactive protein. Each of these conditions can independently drive excessive sleep, and each is identifiable with standard tests. The goal is not to sleep less for the sake of it. The goal is to understand what your body is trying to tell you, and to give your doctor the information they need to find out. Has your sleep changed recently? Leave a comment below. I read every single one, and your experience might be exactly what someone else watching this needs to hear. If this was useful, share it with someone over 60 in your life. Recognizing this pattern early gives doctors the best chance to catch what's actually driving it. And if you're not subscribed yet, new videos every week focused entirely on health after 60. No ads, no products to sell. I'll see you in the next one.